Good morning. Welcome back. Borderview Farms here. We should be washing the combine today. Sun's shining. It's not real warm yet, but it is getting warmer. It's going to be decent. Brock may or may not be here this afternoon. He had a meeting at 11. Didn't know what time he was going to get out. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm going to at least wait until after lunch before we start power washing on this, if I have to do it anyway. I had a Zoom meeting this morning about the warehousing stuff that I'm doing down there. So got that taken care of and figured a few things out. I've got a few errands to run and some stuff to drop off different places. So I'm going to go and do that here this morning. It's already 11 o'clock, so we're getting a late start on the day. But yeah, we're going to work on this. Couple other updates. I have new brackets coming. This is for that stalk stompers on our head. Remember we had this piece that kind of fell off or broke this fall. So I contacted May West, the company that we bought them from. We bought them through our John Deere dealer, but I contacted them directly, and they said, yeah, we'll take care of it, but work through your dealer. So I called the dealer, told them what they needed to know. They called May West. They got new brackets on their way. Going to cover it. So good service from them. I appreciate that. Other update, our 9R. A few of you guys have asked about that. And sorry I haven't given quicker updates. But yeah, our 9R is still up at the dealership. We have not gotten it home yet. I would be thinking we should be getting it. They should be done with it any time here. But turns out that our antifreeze issue was the EGR cooler. It was leaking internally and getting coolant into the exhaust gas and putting it into the combustion chambers, essentially. So that was good and bad news, because one, it was the cheapest possible fix, but it's bad because we just put a new EGR cooler on that tractor a year ago, and why we have another one going bad, I don't know. That's that could be a problem if we're going to have consistent EGR failures. So, but being that it was done a year ago, that one was still under warranty, so that's a good thing. While they had it up there, we had a couple of exhaust manifold bolts that were broken, or at least one, and so they took the exhaust manifold off, and we're looking at it, and it was really pitted where it should be sealing, so they're putting a new exhaust manifold on it. So that's kind of, we're waiting on that part to come in, and what was taking a little bit longer, but going to cost us something. It's not going to be a $30,000 new engine or even a $10,000 new head, so that's good. It's should be a reasonable bill at least, and we should get it back pretty soon. Oh, Brock's here. It's after lunch. We're going to put the combine out to the side. Should be able to just back it straight out. We'll spend most of today focusing on the feeder house corn head area of the combine. It's nice to be able to get the corn head done, go through it, and get it out of here so that we got a little more room in the shop to get around everything else, work on stuff. We usually try and do that before we spend too much time worrying about the combine itself. Dad's working on his stairs project over there. He cleaned up our floor for us. He must have done that yesterday, so we got a little bit we can do now that the combine's out of the shop here. Get Brock started power washing. He's using a real man's grinder today. None of that little crap. I'm not man enough to run that grinder. It takes too much effort. Makes me sore, so. Have fun. Yep. I tilted the feeder house on the combine so that everything's sloping down. It helps get everything washed out of there a little bit better. Good? Get him some fuel, keep this thing moving. Yeah, like I said, feeder house corn head today. Usually we pull the snouts straight off the combine. I'm going to try and avoid that. We might have to take them off, but we'll see how well it cleans up without it. Progress being made. We lifted it up so we can get to all this stuff underneath. It's dirty. It's just dirty. All right, good deal. I somewhat conveniently wasn't feeling the greatest late this morning or earlier. I had a headache when I woke up this morning, then started getting nauseous at lunchtime. I've taken lots of medicine and I'm starting to feel better. I'll just use that as an excuse as to why I'm not the one power washing, but we all know I don't want to do it. No, I'm doing some bookwork stuff. One of my uncles is an accountant or retired CPA, and he is home from Florida for a couple of days, so we're going over some of the year-end financial stuff, trying to get inventories and all that kind of stuff updated. I'm trying to get my seed business books updated. Fun stuff. Well, Brock says he's done with the corn head. Looks pretty good. And he's washing on the sides and the top now, so that's good. The more we can get off of this thing now, the better. New power wash making it go faster, huh? All that water, moving the dirt off. I'm gonna run down to my seed warehouse and grab my floor sweeper. We're gonna sweep the floor down there up real good, and then bring it down here to clean the floor in the shop. Yeah, just a whole lot easier than a broom. So I've got this pretty nice floor sweeper. It's got a broom on it that sweeps stuff up into the canister, but it's also got a vacuum to control the dust to keep that down. It's much better than a broom, and not just because it's easier, but because it has that vacuum and controls the dust. You don't get dust cloud up in the air everywhere, settling on everything, so that's nice. I usually keep it down here because, well, I bought it for my seed business, through my seed business, so it's fine. But because I have this big floor and I like to keep the floor as clean as possible, I'm not always great at it, but it's a seed warehouse, and when you have seed laying on the floor, things like wheat and soybeans and corn, but I don't handle that much corn, it attracts things that eat wheat and soybeans and corn, things like mice and birds, and we're trying to keep them out of here. So the cleaner I can keep the floor, the less food supply is around for them, the less likely they are going to be to get in here. So that's why I try and clean it up. Now that we're done treating wheat, I've been done treating wheat. Once I get that kind of cleaned up, until we start treating beans, there's not any seed really moving around that should be loose and getting on the floor unless we break a bag or something. So I don't need it down here as much as I do in the spring, in the summer, in the fall. So I take it down to the farm to use it in the shop because it's a lot easier. So I figured I'd just give the floor a good once over here, and we'll load her up and take it down there. Goodness, I go down there for a half an hour and I come back and Brock's finished washing with a hose. That new power washer must be awesome. Almost done with the combine, huh? After 2 hours? Not even? Good deal. Keep going. Actually, you could help me get this stuff out of my truck. More floor cleaning. This floor's not as big. Can you see down there the line? It does a pretty good job. It's not perfect, right? But it does a pretty good job. And it's going to pick up that pile of corn, so that's good. Does a good job if you can drive straight, let's put it that way. One-handed, a little more difficult. Yeah, it will not pick up that big chunk of dirt. We're going to go around that. Yeah. Okay, now it's clean. So when we bring the combine back in, obviously it's going to be wet, it's going to be dripping. We're going to get a bunch more crap off of it. We're going to probably use the hose in here to wash stuff off, and if you have mud and dirt on the floor, then it becomes mud and sticky and just not fun. So the cleaner you can keep things, the easier it is in the future. We have a lot of... we need to do something about all of that stuff over there. I don't know what to do about it, but we have too much crap. And it needs to get cleaned up and gotten rid of. Oh, look what came today. Right after Brock gets done power washing. New power washing suit. I might have to test it out tomorrow. You coming tomorrow, Brock? No. Why not, Brock? He's going to Iowa. His imaginary girlfriend's dad lives in Iowa, so he's got to go out there. I think he's making it up. The jokes are coming on this one. I know. The jokes are coming on this one. Yeah. Anyway, he's getting stuff put away here, so maybe tomorrow I'll power wash. Probably not, but maybe. It's a possibility. We'll go ahead and pull this back in the shop here. Ugh. Come on. There we go. That air, man, got most of the heavy stuff off. It goes a little faster. First half a day done, Brock. Good job.
Yeah.
Quarter of a day. We'll give you a quarter of a day credit.
I'm only a half employee, right?
No, because you showed up at 2 and you're leaving at 4.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, we're getting there. So it's a lot of people would be done at this point. We're not a lot of people. We're going to keep going. We got a lot of dirt on there yet. Didn't get around the backside here much. We got to get this kind of stuff off, clean up in that groove where the chopper comes down on it. We haven't opened the grain tank covers up at all yet. We need to open those up. Might do it in here and just use a hose and see if we can rinse stuff and flush it that way. Might be effective. I don't know. But it's really not that bad. A good day with a power washer and a day in here with a hose or something, and I think we'll pretty well have her done. Look at this. How come that water beat it up on the bottom part of that panel but not the top part? That's interesting. Why is that? I don't know. Not usually on a part of a panel like that, but something. So I sat down at the computer again for a second, and I sent in those soil tests for that pattern egg a while ago, 3 weeks ago maybe, something like that, just before Thanksgiving. Maybe it's only been 2 weeks ago. Anyway, I got the results back today, the rest of the results. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. We got problems. Makes me think I'm doing a really crappy job as a farmer. Well, I know that's not the case entirely. Just tells me there's a lot more going on out there than you realize or think about. So I'll show them to you here a little bit. We can go over some of these. So, refresher, pattern ag, we send in soil samples and they analyze looking for the DNA in that soil to determine what kind of pests and pathogens and diseases might be an issue for us in the future. So we have 4 fields that are ours that I sent samples in from, and most of these fields there was multiple zones, and there's much more in-depth breakdown. The whole report was 95 pages. I didn't want to print the whole thing, so we're just going to cover the highlights here. But this top row is from a field that was corn this year. This field is a field that was soybeans this year. This one was wheat at Berkey, and this one was also corn, but has just been a lagging field. It's not performed like I think that it should. And so you can see we have, some common things like Pythium, big issue for us across all of them, and some things that we don't have issues with. Soybean brown stem rot, moderate to low. Red crown rot, moderate to low. Sudden death syndrome, moderate to low. That's not something that we fight on our farms. But anthracnose, Pythium, Rhizoctonia, this is Gibberella stalk rot, soybean stem canker, white mold, and you'll notice there's none detected on these 2 fields. Well, this one's a wheat field, and at Berkey, and this one, I'm a little surprised there was none, but it was a cornfield this year. That one was also a cornfield, and it's a high risk, so we'll want to try and do something about that and prevent it for next year. Make sure we pick the right variety to go there. Phytophthora, that's something I know we fight. So interesting. And we have some more foliar disease stuff here, corn foliar diseases. And you'll notice that in the cornfield, we have more corn foliar diseases. Now, we didn't see quite as much down here, though. It was a different variety. This variety, pretty susceptible to that stuff, but it got sprayed with fungicide, although both of them did. So I'm not surprised to see that stuff there is kind of what I am saying. This one is gray leaf spot, Goss's wilt. I've never even seen Goss's wilt, so I'm surprised that it's there, but okay. Northern corn leaf blight, and that showed up in the bean and wheat fields, so something we'll need to pay attention to next year. Tar spot in that cornfield, and I know there was tar spot up there, so that checks out. Diplodia ear rot, we saw some of that. That's the white fuzzy mold that we get on corn ears. Bacterial leaf streak of corn. I've talked about these results before, but something that I had seen this summer, didn't know what it was, sent a picture to Wade, my agronomist, and he didn't know, and then he texted me back a day or two later and said, I think it's bacterial leaf streak in corn. Sure enough, it showed up on the test results that that's probably what it was. Anthracnose of soybeans, Cercospora, I can't remember how to say that word. Frog eye, none detected. We don't have frog eye this far north. Septoria brown spot, I'm surprised we don't have more of that, but that's what it says. So anyway, and then on 3 of those fields, we did the fertility test to look at the fertility of it. Now, this is not replacing the soil sampling that we have our consultant do, but kind of in addition to that, we've got phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, pH, CEC, boron, iron, manganese, copper, zinc, sulfur. The only one that's really glaringly bad is this potassium. We know that. That's something that we fight and have been for a long time, is our potassium levels, and we're pouring potash on these fields or chicken litter or whatever we can to try and raise our potassium levels. And it's working. It's just, that's a slow process. So anyway, and then sulfur's low, but sulfur's a leachable nutrient that you have to add every year. Same with this first one is nitrogen. I don't want there to be nitrogen in our soils in the fall, because if it's there in the fall, it won't be in the spring, and it's basically wasted money. So good to see that it's low, and sulfur's kind of the same way. It pretty much moves like nitrogen does. So these are beneficial biomarkers on this side. These are harmful biomarkers on this side. So basically, higher is better, lower is better. And for the most part, we're not too bad. Phosphorus solubilization activity, those are the microbes that are breaking phosphorus down and making it plant available. We've got lots of those. That's good. AMF, mycorrhizal fungi, those are good. This is just a measure of diversity. Do you have a lot of different species out there, or is it all kind of the same stuff? Some good, some bad. Plant growth promoters, I don't know exactly what that means, but some good, some bad. Soybean nitrogen fixation. Interesting one here. So we add inoculant to our soybeans to make them produce more nitrogen, create the nodules, right? Well, in the field that was soybeans this year, we have lots of them out there. The fields that weren't soybeans this year, we don't have that many. Or that are going to beans next year. Now, this one's not. This one's going to corn. But this field and this field will be going to beans next year. It's important that we put that inoculant on. I think that's working, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. Denitrification activity, so these would be the microbes that are breaking nitrogen down into a leachable form that's causing it to just run out of the soil with the groundwater. We don't have a ton of that. That's good. That means our nitrogen is going to stick around a little bit longer. Anaerobic activity, basically if the soil is saturated, you have activity there. You don't want saturated soil, so lower is better. Bollinger's, that field where we have had issues, shows high there. So, and I think this last one is just ratios of some of these other numbers. Base saturations, yeah. Base saturation numbers like calcium saturations in the 70s, high 70s, magnesium 16 to 18, potassium base saturations 3.3 to 3.8. Those aren't terrible. I'd like to get that up to 4, but that's not bad. And then some ratios of those numbers. So overall, yeah, it's not great news, but it's not horrible news. And it's all things that we can manage, although like sudden death syndrome is something I can control the seed treatment, Saltro. I don't have that, so I don't need to use Saltro, which is good because it's expensive. So, you know, we can learn some stuff like that. I don't know. We'll have to go through this a little bit more in depth and see if we can't make some decisions from it. It's an interesting test, but it's sort of expensive, and I don't know if it's worth doing it on all of our acres, half of our acres, everything going to a certain crop, coming off of a certain crop, you know, trying to decide what am I going to do with this? How's this going to make me money? And there are certain things that have direct actions to them, like seed treatments or using fungicides or picking more resistant hybrids. But you're predicting whether or not you might have a pest that may or may not happen. And so I don't know. We'll see. I'm testing it this year just because I was curious to know if the test works and what I can learn from it. Okay, well, now that was probably half the video, I'm ready to go home. Thanks for watching today. Apparently you guys like these videos, whether there's any real good content in it or not. Today's was better. I feel like today's was better, even though half of it was that last. Sorry. last discussion, but that's okay. We might be power washing tomorrow. I do have to pick my boys up from school, apparently. So that's going to kind of kill the middle of the afternoon. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it's supposed to be really nice. Hopefully we can do a little bit in the morning. I was going to go take those soil test results for the one customer that I sent in with mine to him tomorrow. But he said he's not going to be around, so we're not going to do that. But yeah. Could work on our insulation too, but it's really nice out. So now's a good chance to work outside. All right, have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Appreciate you guys.